Wow. I was really nervous, but that was helpful. Thank you. Thank you. Yesterday, I was walking down Malone Road, and I looked over, speeding cars, across the street. I saw L'Arche, Japan, on the streets of Belfast. So the cars went by, and I walked over, greeted them. I was so happy. I walked a little ways. I saw L'Arche, Kenya, across the road, on the streets of Belfast. I zigzagged my way all the way to the building. I think it took about an hour. And afterwards, I realized, the Lord Mayor, she said global Belfast. If there is a heaven, it's probably like the streets of Belfast. I was really worried about this talk, so I got some help from Anne Chaberdier. And in the beginning, when I was speaking with her, she said, Michael, don't worry. There's so many people from so many different walks of life, different ages. There's no way you would be able to speak to everyone. So the first thing is you have to accept that you can't. I said, okay, good. She said, okay, now let's talk about how you can speak to everyone. And they have that beautiful phrase in French, They say, why make something simple if you could complicate it? But I think there's actually a deeper meaning to the reason why it is difficult to think about how to speak to such a diverse group of people. There's a question. It's a very big question in our world. It's the question, how can you have unity without necessarily having uniformity? People over history have been killed, people have died because of this question. Can you have unity without needing to have uniformity? In my opinion, L'Arche is a place which answers a big yes to that question. This room itself is proof that it is possible to have unity and diversity together as one. And today, we're going to see a few films, probably 5, unless I talk too much. And we're going to explore L'Arche, not as a movement that unifies people, but actually as a unity itself. We're going to explore the unity that is us. We're going to begin in Poland. What I'm going to do is I'll tell a short story, and then we'll watch a film, and then I'll tell a story, and we'll watch a film. And we won't be able to watch every film because we don't have time. And there's still films that Amber and I haven't finished that I wish I could show you, but they're not ready. But we'll begin in Poland. When we go to a community, we never know what the film is going to be. We have zero idea. But we have 1 month to live in the community and find a story. Usually, I think Louis Pilote sends us to a place because he has an idea, He sent us to Belfast. He thought maybe they'll do something about reconciliation. We did it about a baby photo. He sent us to Poland, and I think he thought maybe they'll do something about the history with World War II and people with disabilities. We did it about cassette tapes. So we never know what we're going to do. But now I want to mention an interview I had in Poland with Eva, who you see on the screen. Up behind me, sorry, I was gesturing here because I see here. Everyone looked that way. Up at the screen. So I interviewed Eva, and I asked Eva, I said, Eva, you have these beautiful rings on your hands. Where did they come from? She said, this first ring is from my mother who passed away. She gave it to me as a gift. This second ring is a gift from an assistant who used to live with us who moved away. And the third ring I was given when I think it was when she received her first communion, so when she was entered into her faith tradition with an important sacrament. She said, these rings are a part of my body. I will never remove them. Not when I bathe, not when I sleep. She said, if I have them on when they bury me, I'll be happy. So I asked her, well, what's the greatest gift you've ever received? I thought she might say the rings. She said, spending time with core members and assistants. I said, not the rings? She said, no, the time. The time. Then I asked her, okay, well, that's the greatest gift you've received, but what's the greatest gift that you've given? And she said, there's another woman named Eva who, like me, is in a wheelchair. And sometimes when she tries to sit in the wheelchair slips beneath her and she falls down. So if I'm nearby, I hold the wheelchair so she doesn't slip. I said, that's the greatest gift you've ever given in your life. She said, no, there's another one. She said, there's a guy in our community named Lukasz. And Lukasz, when he puts the food down, sometimes he doesn't put it on the plate, he puts it on the table. And it's a little bit difficult to deal with food on the table. So I help him put it on the plate. I said, that's the greatest gift you've ever given. She said, yeah, that's the greatest gift I've ever given. In L'Arche, I think we do have amazing gifts, great gifts, magisterial gifts. We'll see films about magnificent gifts. We also have all these little, everyday, unglorified gifts, unglorified givings that are happening all the time before our eyes. This first film I want to show you is about the man named Mateusz, who also had a little gift that he gave every day. And when I asked him the question, what's the greatest gift you've ever given? Mateusz doesn't speak, so he didn't respond with words, but he used his pointer finger, and he pointed to a picture of a cassette tape.
Mateusz bardzo lubi do tej pory słuchać muzyki i bardzo lubił słuchać tej kasety z nagranymi przez nią ulubionymi kolędami i piosenkami Mateusza. I pewnego razu, jak wyciągał z magnetofonu, to kawałek taśmy się wyciągnęło. I tak się zaczęło. Jemu sprawia przyjemność dawanie. Kiedyś opowiadała też nauczycielka, gdy był mały. Mateusz miał rzodkiewki. To znaczy każdy przynosił swoje śniadanie i razem jedli. Opowiadała, że tak popatrzył dookoła i zaczął rozdawać te rzodkiewki każdemu, żeby wszyscy mieli. I potem chyba wymyślił, że może to być taki prezent od niego, bo sam robił to. Dostaliśmy tam po kilkadziesiąt. Teraz dostajemy.
You can see dedication for me.
To jest moja kolekcja. Ten wspaniały prezent.
Mnie się wydaje, tak pani Wisława była taka zdenerwowana, bo to chyba był jej może pierwszy kontakt z takimi osobami, które nie mówią. Chyba była zachwycona.
Aha. Tuto.
Could we have one more round of applause for the community of Śledziowice in Poland? I know Basia is here. Thank you. You have a cassette tape. Oh, that's great. I don't think it's so easy to, welcome two filmmakers, and worse, two American filmmakers, into a community for a month. But each film was really the work of the entire community. So that's why I think it's important that we're really grateful to everyone. So there's a few people in the crowd here who planned the World Youth Day meeting last year. And there was something really beautiful that happened. I just want to tell it to you. We showed the film about Mateusz. Huge tent full of young people. I don't know how many people. Christian and Ohan know how many people. Was it like 700 people? It was so many people. And right after we showed the film, unbeknownst to me, Mateusz arrived. He wasn't very far. He lived a few miles from where we were. And he heard we were showing the film. He showed up as a surprise. One man in the crowd with Down syndrome saw Mateusz first, and he stood up, and he started clapping. And then another person looked, and they saw Mateusz and stood up and started clapping. And Mateusz's mother was pushing him in the wheelchair, slowly. And as she pushed him across, everyone stood up and gave him a standing ovation. They came right to the front. Mateusz sat up a little bit more in his wheelchair, very dignified. And his mother stood behind him with a look of utter confusion. Why was she confused? I don't know. But I have an idea, maybe. I don't know if it's the right one. I know she's not confused because she would give a standing ovation to him for sure. She loves him more than life itself. You could see it in her eyes when she speaks with him. But 70 kilometers from where we were, when my grandmother was alive, people with disabilities were the victims of genocide. They were the first to be sent to Auschwitz. 2 generations later, you have a tent full of 700 people giving a standing ovation for the gift that is Mateusz's existence and the gifts that he gives to the world. When we talk about the little things, we're also talking about the big things. I have to look at my notes now. So I think L'Arche is a place where We do a lot of that. We give a lot of standing ovations for people. In a certain regard, we're like a tent that just gives a lot of standing ovations. And I was a assistant in L'Arche, Kenya. We worked a lot. We were really tired. Sometimes we'd come back to the community exhausted. And there was a woman named Wahaki in the community. She's the one right in the middle of the photograph. Whenever we'd come home, Wahaki would get up and she'd run to us. She'd usually slap us in the face. She'd latch onto us and maybe bite our arm. It hurt a little bit, but more than anything, it felt like a standing ovation. I felt like I came home every day to a standing ovation. And once an assistant told me they had washed their clothes and they had a big stain of saliva on their shirt from being greeted by Mwihaki so many times. And they said, I'm so glad that it's still there. Because it reminds me that I'm great as I am, and I know someone in this world accepts me for who I am. Another story like that. There's a man in the community in Kenya named Kababa. Kababa had a tough life. In the beginning, he wasn't treated well. His sister slept with the family. Kababa was told to sleep with the goats. His whole life until he was 18, he came to L'Arche, Kenya. He began to speak human language, to invent his own language. He named himself. That was the first word in his language. He named himself Kababa, which in Swahili means little father. Then he named each person in the community. We have Maurice here. His name translates to the one of the big shoes, because his feet are so big. And his shoes are so nice, by the way. We didn't know what Kababa's birthday was, so Maurice and a few others decided on a day. You know what? Let's say we'll celebrate your birthday on this day. But Kababa had never had a birthday. He didn't know what it was. So we had a cake. He was very happy with the cake. It was a good cake. It passed his standards. And then each person around the table said something nice, something they appreciated about Kababa. It took a long time, about an hour. We were all exhausted afterwards. And by the end, Kababa, he didn't say thank you. He didn't say I appreciate it. He said, okay, another round. I said that L'Arche is a place that's like a tent that gives standing ovations. Core members to assistants, assistants to core members. I think it's also a place that goes another round. We did another round. You listen to Kababa. The next film, it has to do with a group of people here in Belfast who decided to constantly go another round to help a man named Larry find something he was looking for. I want to show you the film now. And then I have a special surprise for you. You could probably guess it.
Now I be for fish.
Me, your language.
Baby for fish.
I'm not sure I understand.
My family.
There's no need for that.
The internet has everything. Everything I've wanted to know, I've found almost. Lawrence Gurley is the only man I've ever known to find the edge of the internet. And he just wanted to see his baby photos. So Larry came, me, computer nice, which is Larry code for, I want to use that computer. You're like, okay, what's up? What do you want to look for? Larry, baby photos. Like, oh, okay. So we hit search. He'll just pick on a photo. Who's that? Me? I remember we searched the internet like night after night. Down arrow, relentlessly looking. Who? Me? No. Who's that? I don't know. We must have seen maybe 4 million baby photos. For a long time I never thought we'd ever find any. Look at that photo. Is that you?
No.
He has this desire to like uncover his history, but a point would come when you think we have to stop looking now because the rest of your life needs to happen. It's a weird moment because anything that might cross his mind you can get, except things like this, and suddenly he's found the limit of the internet, which is it can't tell me who I am. But it's almost for him like it had to be, like it will be. And we just have to look in the right place and it will be.
You must sing.
He went to the funeral and everything. And he came home with some things. A picture of his cousin who lives in Canada. I presume his cousin maybe had sent condolences. And then he's like, who is she? Where does she live? And I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, right cousin, Canada. And Larry wanted to say, hi, my name is Larry, and you're my cousin. I like Ford Cortinas and live in L'Arche. We did a proper handwritten letter and posted it off.
Sorry, me. I don't see.
Card. Good card.
Me, your language.
My name in card.
Maybe 4 million baby photos.
I'm not sure I understand. There's no need for that.
Only man I've ever known to find the edge of the internet.
Family. Tax.
For a long time I never thought we'd ever find any.
Sorry, people, please.
Please.
Okay. Yay. You talking?
Oh, he wants me to talk. So hello, I'm Neil,
No.
and I suppose we just wanted to take a second to fill you in on what happened after the film. So, who were those letters from?
Coffin.
His cousin Kathleen. Did you write more letters to Kathleen?
No.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
So, where did you... What happened after all those letters?
No. Canada.
Yeah, so we went to Canada. Yeah. So, who did you go with?
Son.
Yes, Sharon,
Me.
which is me. So, me, Larry, and Sharon went to Canada, and let's see, was your cousin nice?
I.
Yes.
Neat.
So, who else did you meet as well as Kathleen?
Thursday. Taya.
And Jocelyn.
Johnson.
Which is Kathleen's husband and his 2 children. So we spent a week with them and then went to see some other friends too. But the little extra special bit, what did Kathleen give you?
Jumper.
A jumper. And who made that jumper?
Mommy.
Larry's mum made this jumper and had sent it to Kathleen. But she'd made it before Larry was born. And Larry's mum and dad died many, many years ago when he was young. So he now has a jumper from his mum. And I guess the extra special bit, I feel like that little section where I'm like, the internet can't tell you. The only reason Larry has a jumper from his mum, and the only reason he met his cousins, is because he was so persistently looking. And eventually, that looking paid off in a way that I guess I never thought was possible. So, what do you want to, anything else you want to say to everyone?
No. Zachary. Zachary.
Okay, great. Is that all? Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks. Thanks, Larry. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Maybe Larry will be signing autographs afterwards. I don't know. Another little nice thing that maybe you didn't catch, the letter that he sent to the cousin, all it said was, my name is Larry, I live in L'Arche and I like Ford Cortinas. He hadn't actually mentioned that he was in search for his baby photos. He didn't. He just sent that to make the connection and then in hopes that he would be able to ask. And it just so happened that she had had these 3 baby photos of their relatives far, far away across the Atlantic that she had held on to, and that she then sent, not knowing that he was looking for them. Also, I think it was his brother. Was it the brother, Neil? Of the cousin who he was named after. Oh, her dad. So he was named after his cousin's dad. So he got the connection with his name as well. I think is so beautiful. So now moving from Northern Ireland to Italy. Oh, these are the baby photos. Yeah, sorry, I forgot. Yeah. So these are the 3 baby photos. And finally, yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you, tech team, for honoring my speech more than I did. Yeah, we could go to the next frame. So, yeah, one thing about the baby photos, lots of people have told me, I'm gonna kill you. Why didn't you show his baby photos at the end? My dad was so angry at me. He does this thing when he's angry where he curls his tongue and bites it. I have like shocks in my body from being a child. He did that, he was so angry. The reason why was because when Neil and I asked Larry, should we show your baby photo at the end? He said, maybe not. Nothing more. So now let's move to Italy, your beautiful community. When we arrived in Italy, it was the first community that we filmed at. And neither Amber nor I are filmmakers by trade. We were hired before we really knew film. And so we arrived in Italy and they have to host us. And they said, are you filmmakers? No, not really. But we have to host you for a month, yeah. And what are you doing? We're making a film. Okay, who are you going to make it about? We don't know. How long is it going to take? Well, we don't know, but we only have a month. So, who do you want to interview? Everybody. Okay. So we interviewed everybody. Absolutely everybody. And then what we do in our process is in the second week, we give all of our equipment to the assistants and the core members to experiment. So we have a workshop, and we say, all right, take the cameras, take photographs, walk around. We do different things. Like in Japan, we said, tell the story of your community only filming your hands. And they did it. It involved like different, like people were switching, like some assistants were good life was like this, and then bad life was like this, and then they were switching. Oh, it was so good. So we were in this workshop, and I was talking about how to use art for disability activism. And apparently Rafaela, who the film was about, usually sleeps in the afternoon, but Tiziana told me that it was the first time she saw her really awake, the whole afternoon. So I thought, oh, she's interested. She raised her hand. She said, I'm not interested in any of this. I said, well, why are you here? You didn't have to come. She said, well, I thought you'd help me out a little bit. I said, well, I'm sorry, what did you need help with? She said, my father. He's growing old and I don't know what to do. He's too heavy for me to pick him up and put him in bed. I feel really helpless. And you said you were talking about disability, da-da-da-da. I said, well, what do you do already? She said, well, I can't do much, but I try to be patient, more patient than I actually am. Hold his hand when I can and see him when I can. I said, wow, okay. We should make the film about the love for your father. But the relationship with the father in the community was a tricky one. So we didn't know if we'd be able to make the film. I want to show you the film, and then I'll tell you about the ending of the film, which I hope I can get through without crying. So let's see the film.
Jag såg fara med Josu. Jag betal alaka vi blir skjuta abroad. Det menii beketlono dio. Quale cotte persone ne profondo. Qualcosa non devo spiegare. Non si tocca molto bene. Credo che sia Dio. Io chiedo a Dio. Mi piace stare gli altri. E gli piace molto a mio papà. Mio padre è un po' anziano e un po' vecchio. Non posso fare niente. E non è facile attivare qualcuno che fa fatica. A volte ti più la pazienza. Io voglio stare a casa in questo momento. E mi ricordo ho chiamato il tempo con lui. E quando ero a casa ho fatto le cose belle con lui. Flamingo, ti sentiamo, ti fiamo buona che ricca. Cosa non va schifo a squadra, mi piace. Per essere buona. O se vede le perde, per me una cosa, io come padre, voglio stare sempre con lui. Mi piace il fatto che è la mia padre. Da mano e lui mi dà la carezza. Devo voler bene mio padre. Io ho bisogno del suo aiuto e lui ha bisogno di me.
Come on, body. Allow me speech. So the relationship between Lars and the father was complicated, but we needed his approval. And I asked Rafaela, how do you want the film to end? You know, we didn't need his approval, but we wanted him to be in it because she talked about him. And she said those words that I recorded. I said, because I told her, close your eyes. Tell me what you see the last scenes of the film to be. And that's, thank God I had the microphone on. That's when she said, I want to caress his face. I want him to caress my face. I want to hold his hands. I said, okay. Set up a meeting with the father. The community leader said he probably won't come. I said, just let's hope. Meeting time comes, he doesn't come. Called, set up another meeting. Meeting time comes, didn't come. Third time's a charm? No, didn't come the third time. Then, we didn't have a meeting, he showed up. Straight. Straight from the emergency room. I told him, I don't mean trouble. I just want to make a film about your daughter and her love for you. And she said the last scenes she wants to film with you. So if we could just take 5 minutes. He started to cry. He said, I'd be so happy to do that. She wheeled him out like you saw. It wasn't 5 minutes, it was like 20 or 30. We were shooting with very long lenses, so they had an intimate moment. We couldn't hear anything they said, but whatever they exchanged, it was so beautiful. We left the community afterwards. We received an email a little bit after from the community leader. The father had passed away. The last moment with her father was exactly what she had directed for the film. We thought it was the end of the film. It was the last moments of their life together. So that's why I'd have to say of all these films, I love them so much, but this is sort of the miracle. It's the miracle film, how that happened. Now trying to make an emotional shift. Not all of us have such great relationships with our parents. Someone in our community in Kenya, Musa, when he was born, the mother saw he had a disability. She threw him out in a rubbish heap of burning trash. The body of a child crying on a heap of trash. A woman walking by heard his cries. She picked him up. She brought him home and she raised him. She named him Musa Kirokote, which means in Swahili, Moses, saved from the rubbish. Just like Moses was picked from the Nile in a reed basket in the Old Testament, also in the Quran, they were Muslim. That's why Musa. They were a poor family, but they did their best. Musa joined L'Arche. He changed all of our lives. He's probably changed yours. A lot of us feel like just knowing that there's someone in the world whose heart has achieved the goodness that his heart has achieved, that alone makes it okay. Makes it okay to go through all the crap of the world, the hard times. We know Musa's alive. We know there's someone out there who can change any desert into an oasis. But actually, he can't. I want to show you this next film, which is just a delightful film about him going to France for the 50th anniversary of L'Arche. But then I want to tell you why I was wrong, why I realized for the first time making that film that his heart can't change every desert. He's not as much of the superhero that I thought he was. I still love him just as much, but he's more human. Let's see the video.
País ni maskini, hakuna nasi, sijua hapa. Naona umba hakuna uti. Ni inatembea kupika chakula yetu, kwa sababu yapikanga kideri, ugali, inakulanga majani kama mbuzi. Usiogope, ndege inakuja na choo. Mahenga yasema hakuna simba huko Paris.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we're experiencing turbulence, the captain has switched on the seatbelt signs. Please return to your seat and ensure that your seatbelt remains fastened until the sign has been switched on. Thank you.
Kwamba kutoka nyumbani bali aidha rafiki yangu waombe. Mimi kuwa na maswali nyingi. Je, wako uko France? Nitapata bibi huko? Usiogope ndege. Nakanga kwa tumba ya ndege. Wazungu apanga vitu abuye. Hataki mimi nioshe vyombo. Watu wengine anakasirika. Inatembeka ameweka mkono. Namwagia soda jirani yangu. Anakasirika. Inastuka. Fransi iko mzuri. Na kuanga chapati kama sisi. Kuna wani inaekangwa kwa kiasi. Inasikianga mzuri. Wao inapikanga chuya, kukuya, sinei. Inakuwa mzuri. Maskini. Warembo anakisi mtu. Watu wa France wako poa. Isikae sana huko, nirudi kazi. Watu wanapenda mimi nyumbani. Nafika nyumbani, lishe kama anahamisi. Nilishe na warembo Kenya, Samia na Kiss. Sababu kukisi mtu si mbaya.
All right. I'm running late. I gotta go quickly now. There's a lot of things that I could say about that film, but I just wanted to say one quick one then. One thing I like about it is it shows how strange the world is outside of disability. There's that great quote from Lars France, "It's not me that's crooked, it's the world that's too straight." I think Musa really reminds us of that. I want to tell a quick story. I have a friend named Ibrahim. Ibrahim worked at a camp called Seeds of Peace. Seeds of Peace is a camp that takes young people from Palestine and from Israel, brings them together in the United States so they can have interaction across walls. The first day they have a big famous band come and play, and all the young people love to go and listen to the music. One day there was a young boy who turned away from the famous band and he just walked out into a meadow, back to all the fun. I mean, his back was to all the fun. My friend Ibrahim, he followed him. He wondered where he was going. And the little boy went and he sat down in the grass and he looked. The sun was setting. Ibrahim sat down next to him and they watched the sunset. Ibrahim said, "It's not so beautiful today. Why are you looking at the sunset?" He said, "I just want to know what happens when there's no wall there." The young man was 12 years old. He lived inside walls. He had never seen the sun set all the way down. He'd only seen it set behind a wall. This 12-year-old boy wanted to know, what does the world look like when there's no walls? What does it just concrete look like? What does it look like? The next film comes from Côte d'Ivoire. It's about a man who climbed a wall in the middle of a war and the lesson that that taught people.
Vâng, cái ada tenis, masih maka bang, biang ada pengajar, penyalek, masih semua pasti, masih pasti. Basta me Pablo. Se curaba un doble. Se cura un doble. Ông hay gì bạc à? À đây tuổi rồi, vui chắc. 해봐. Chốt efficace. Show, efficace.
Aujourd'hui, c'est sur toi on fait le film. Hein.
Oui.
L'électricité, ça allait. L'eau, ça allait. Mais la nourriture, on n'en trouvait pas. Les médicaments, on ne peut pas en trouver. Quand tu vois quelqu'un qui fait des crises d'épilepsie, qui n'a pas son traitement, ça va lui rendre encore plus faible. Personne ne peut se trouver au dehors. Et toute la ville de Boaké était en train de se vider. Mais lui seulement, ce qu'il voulait, c'est de saluer ses amis. Et c'est là qu'il a escaladé la clôture. Avec les coups de feu qui résonnent partout. Et les gens qui l'ont vu dans la ville ont commencé à crier « Nganda, vous êtes arrivés !» Donc le colonel, il reste toujours ce monsieur qui n'oublie jamais ses amis. J'ai regardé le ciel et puis j'ai dit à Dieu, mais tu ne vas pas nous faire ça. Tu ne vas pas nous faire ça. Et quand je suis rentré, j'ai mis la clé, la voiture a démarré, j'ai fait ouf. Dieu merci. Donc c'était la voiture de lâche seul qui était ce jour-là sur la route. Certains avaient peur parce que les rebelles sont déjà cachés sur les routes et qu'ils peuvent nous assassiner tous. Quand on est arrivé à Yamoussoukro, l'armée nous a arrêtés. Ils ont dit, bon, écoutez, dès que votre véhicule est parti, les rebelles sont arrivés sur les lieux, ils ont chassé tout le monde. mais j'ai plus le courage du colonel. Si le colonel, dans la guerre, il veut aller voir ses amis, et que moi j'ai mes amis qui sont restés de l'autre côté, c'est tout à fait normal que je retourne pour venir les chercher. Il faut retourner aller chercher les autres.
So the last question was, what does the world look like without walls? We see this film of Le Colonel going over the wall, and then Adrian going back into the war. And the community actually can't be with us at the moment. There are certain walls which are there in the world, which we don't know how to traverse. And I want to close on that note. The As I Am series actually, kind of, in a way, was inspired by a rejected visa. I don't know if you know that, but the last Federation meeting in Atlanta, in L'Arche, Kenya, our delegate, Susan Wagodi, this lovely woman you see here, was selected to come. She went to the visa department. They said, you don't have a bank account, you don't own property. Denied. Maurice came to me in the morning. Michael, do you know anyone? No, I don't know anyone. I was ashamed. I'm an American. It's my government. There's nothing I can do. L'Arche International has connections. So they got a letter, personally written, from the governor of Oregon, saying, I invite Wagodi. I remember Maurice coming to the breakfast table with the letter in hand saying, we've got a letter from the governor of Oregon. I said, who knows the governor of Oregon? Somebody does, probably in this room. They walked triumphantly to the visa department with the letter. They gave the letter, denied again. Wagodi never went to Atlanta. 2 years later, I was fortunate enough to get a grant to get a camera. I didn't know anything about film then. I held the camera in front of Wagodi's face and I said, Wagodi, this is your passport. We live in a world where people won't allow your body to travel, but this will allow your story to travel. I said, what did you want to tell people in Atlanta that you didn't get to say? And she said, I'm beautiful. I said, is that it? She said, no, so beautiful. I said, and what would you ask of them in Atlanta? And she said, respect me. Respect me.